Stefon Diggs, huh? Why did you strangle the human being? I'm in Las Cruces, New Mexico. This is Army military intel headquarters where they threaten to blow everybody up with nuclear weapons if they can abuse them with money and technology. They sexually compromised and abused my wife, and it affected my children. The medical industry, which they endorsed for genocidal operations, murdered my mother for cancer treatment. When in Sierra Vista, they talked to me about programming people with technology and computers. And they said they can program people like they're programming a video game and they can't get them to do anything they want to do. My brother-in-law's sister, Michelle Bowen, one of the most beautiful brown, or what you would call black women in the history of the world, stood up for me because she was watching my videos on YouTube, said, yeah, Earl's not doing nothing wrong. I'd help him if I could. And later that week, she was shot in the back of the head execution style by some hooligan idiot at a smoke shop in Phoenix. And my family, through their archaic religious beliefs, well, she shouldn't have been at the smoke shop. The Lord wasn't protecting her. Like they're, psychotic Mormons, right? And I live in a town with people that, I've got people get in my face here, and have people come and tell me, there was a guy who worked with the CIA here who had pictures of himself with Henry Kissinger and Richard Milhouse Nixon in his house and said, you can tell your guy Parsons not to get a big head, okay? Because we could run him over the parking lot of Best Buy anytime we want, it'd be if he doesn't exist, okay? And I've had, cage fighting children of these soldiers and stuff attempt to come and sexually, and then they did sexually manipulate, because one of the kids, Stephen Abraham, his dad worked at the fort, and Stephen was 18 and Natalie was 12, and he manipulated her into a sexual relationship because he could get away with it, because his dad talked him into it to see how angry I'd get. Okay, so why did you strangle the person, Stefon Diggs? You and Drake may talk about it. You're supposed to believe in God. God helped you win the football game, right? Get lots of money to have sex with Cardi B, right? Why did you strangle that other human being? You need to ask yourself questions like this, because if you want to be somebody, that would be worthy of hanging out with King David, a guy that can keep his cool, way better than the Don Thirth on West Side Story. Got to keep it cool, kid. Gang fight. We're going to a gang fight, right? You know what I'm saying? If you want to be able to roll and walk and talk, like the little Mormon church song, and he walks with me and he talks. Well, that's my mom's favorite, In the Garden. I am a child of God. That's the Mormon one. Okay, Mom, In the Garden, the Elvis song? Well, Elvis didn't sing, but Elvis sang it. It's famous because of Elvis, but my grandma, it was one of my grandma's favorites before she died from blunt force trauma, possibly from too many post-traumatic stress disorder backhands when she talked to my grandpa about Jesus. Grandpa was an atheist that killed Jesus when he was 15 because he was killing poor Mexicans for the British who were Catholics, and then one of those damn Catholics wouldn't let him marry her beautiful Mexican daughter because he was Irish. Yeah, so he killed God at 15 because God was a mean little pervert that watched us all do everything and watched us under a magnifying glass and made us into flies and plucked our wings off and laughed at us till we died. Makes sense, right? So why did you strangle the guy, Stefon? I'm making sense of it for Cardi so she can have a good Bacardi-free relationship with you and the kids. Well, I connect to people in prayer and they keep putting Miss Cardi B. I can't say her name, girl. But we have to sit down for like 2 days now. What's your name again, girl? Okay. No, repeat it one more time. Is this okay? Spock, lizards. Okay, go through it one more time. I'm just kidding with you, man. Everybody says I've been lonely. I'm just being facetious, man. If you get my sense of humor, I'm very funny. If you don't get my sense of humor, that guy's just crazy. Well, it's because you're stupid, but that's okay. Do you see what I'm saying? So, why'd you strangle the dude, Stefon? You need to control your emotions. In the words of a broken heart. Okay. And have you noticed when you sit and listen to songs like there's a song called "Gotta Get a Message to You," written by Barry Gibb, who wrote the song "Emotion," sang by Samantha Singh, that made it famous, and then resung by What's the girl's name? Beyonce Carter, right? And they be sitting there saying, "Well, I did it to him. Now it's my turn to die." And they always got these sad songs. Merle Haggard, they have this song called "Will You Visit Me on Sunday?" He killed this guy. And he asked this woman, "Will you come and visit my grave on Sunday? Because I killed this guy. They won't kill me, right?" And that's always sad, right? Well, that's a sad song, and that's how heathens be. And then when they go to church and if Jesus gets killed for standing up for them to live the perfection of the Gospels, it's a magic show to pay for all their disgustingness. Well, I get it. I just gotta get a message to you. Hold on. All right. And then if in the event of something happened to me, there's something I'd like y'all to see. It's just a photograph of someone that I need. Have you seen my wife, Mr. Jones? Right. And so they always be doing that stuff. It's really sad when a sinner gets they come up, and it's because they ain't living the Lord's Prayer. And then when they say, well, we should live the Lord's Prayer, but we can't. We have to do it when we're dead with Jesus up in the sky. And that's not what happens, okay? When they killed my mother, okay, they can use science projects to try to eradicate everyone like my mother off the face of the planet so she cannot a woman like her can't sexually reproduce a man like me. They could run me over the parking lot of a Best Buy. It'll be if I didn't even exist. They could rip out my eyeball like Sun Tzu's Art of War and try to take away all my memories and kill everybody that shared any memories like me. So why did you strangle the dude? Because I don't strangle people. I live in a town where I shop with people that use science projects to head fuck people to make them act stupid and insane. And they've killed and sexually assaulted people in my family and then smile in my face when I go to the store. And I still don't choke them and or try to kill them. I try to talk them into living the applied physics of the Lord's Prayer and then living the faith of Psalms and sustaining it with the wisdom of Proverbs. Your life's eternal, grace is infinite. Share, care, give, according to need, built to last. You should have checked your Virgo. Does that man's fake teeth bother you? It bothers the fuck out of me. And so does that man's fake teeth. Okay? Matter of fact, all the motherfuckers on this commercial got some fake ass teeth. See, this is real teeth. See, I always have this one right there. It looks like a kernel of corn. Yeah, is it on this side? I'm not sure. I think it's this side. See that? It's always looked that way since I was like in high school and college. And I'm sure superficial, but one of his teeth looks like a kernel of corn. Well, it's because I'm invented chicken. I'm the spirit of Santa Claus and Colonel Sanders. Hell yeah, I'm also the Tooth Fairy. I'm also the Tooth Fairy, and I'm also the Easter Bunny. I'm the Easter Bunny. It's true. It's nothing so-so, because I know it's not about this minute. I'm in it, admit it. I did it for you, because this is what I'm into. USAA, military veteran spouses, and insurance. Money to keep you safe from people that will murder people over money, to manipulate people sexually, mentally, and emotionally to feel powerful with money and technology. Jimmy's Johns. Jimmy's Johns. I had an interview up on like Mountain View, way to hell up there. Jimmy Johns. I tried to have an intelligent conversation with the kid who was hiring me, who was like 30 years my junior. Why are you here? Jimmy Johns. Jimmy Johns. Everything was like Jimmy Johns. Was like, dude, you can be a human being if you want to. We could talk about things human beings talk about. About love and life and being free. Lord's Prayer, it's perfect, right? Well, apparently, Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez did it all the time before they had kids and then lost their minds because they thought they needed Bruce Willis money to keep their children safe. Right? So why'd you choke the person? Why'd you try to strangle the person, Mr. Stefon Diggs? Please talk to me in prayer. You and Drake May, tell me in prayer. Because I heard you guys talking about God after the football game. And the Lord Jesus, right? And I happen to be the molecular structure that is most consistent because of molecular structures to be the temple for the spirit of the man, Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. His names are all, his mom's name is Mary, his dad's name is Ralph. It's in the book of Revelation. He's born in the valley of the shadow of death, where they threaten to blow everybody up with nuclear weapons if they can't screw us in the head and give us the abomination of the Antichrist. It's all in there, man. It's not really that hard to decipher or understand if you look at it logically and linguistically now with the terrible sciences that they do to maintain their psychosis. Okay? When you read it, like, you can see why these people thought they was wackadoodles, which I see why some priest and I think Ptolemy was right with John Calvin. He's basically what Ptolemy was saying is, if you read like Revelation, these things will come to pass, and they seem magical and mystical in our present, but in the future they'll make sense because the things that happened and are happening will be capable of happening in the future time. Like in the Quran where it talks about flying in the belly of the bird, which is an airplane, but people didn't know how to translate it or write down or explain it from that kind of talking about that kind of thing in ancient times, right? So when people translate things, you try to how do you describe that? How do you describe an airplane to someone 1,500 years ago? You're going to find a what? No, the big old thing was going to get, no. I saw that on Bugs Life, but it was shit. Really? That shit really working shit? Wow, that crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, Stefon, why'd you strangle the person, man? You're going to have to learn to restrain yourself, bro. Uh-huh. You got a Cardi with B. She's more emotional than you is, dog. How you going to help her keep her calm and keep her cool and be a faithful, loving, sexual comfort spouse that raises beautiful, intelligent, protecting, loving, comforting children? If you can't keep it good, you're going to strangle somebody because they say something stupid to you. I mean, some bitch, man. You know what I'm saying? So I empathize, though. Because there's been people here in town, that when I had that I went to go get a trash certificate to go to the dump. You have to have a little certificate they punch to say you paid your money to drop the trash there, right? And I went to go get some, and I was seeing this guy walk out with this frail older lady, and I saw him. I said, I don't know why I said this, but I did. I just sat there and I said, that the government has linguistics. They can use equipment to gain access to our domiciles and totally take away any of our rights and manipulate it. And this guy sat there and he glared at me, and he looked at me, and he looked at his wife, and he sat there and he said, "You're crazy. I'm a rocket scientist and you're a liar." And he sat there and was walking out the door of his wife, right? I didn't know. I was telling his wife, "Did you know that this man put up rockets with satellites in it to sexually compromise my wife and my daughter? And that ugly pile of shit you're walking out the door with would masturbate to sexual access and manipulation of my wife and my daughter? And it's okay because they have the money and all the technology and papers that they write down and say, 'He signed your bill, now you're a law.'" And so, yeah, I physically wanted to kill the man when he said that to me. And I sit there and I was telling him, you know that's true. You're full of shit. And he's, "Yeah, I'm a rocket scientist. You're a liar. You have a nice day." I said, "You don't, because you're a goddamn liar." And then two men with guns and badges came up to assess the situation and question me. And one of the men, I told him about what happened. He said, "Well, yeah, everybody knows what you said is true." And I said, "Okay, well, thanks. I didn't mean to, but that really upset me. I find that quite upsetting." And then the other guy just sat and followed me with the gun. And I tried to talk to him the same way, compassionately, intelligently. And he just ignored me. And then when I left, he said he was sorry. And I went home on YouTube and said, "You ain't sorry. Because you ain't doing nothing to help me stop it. You taking a paycheck to mean mug me with a gun while I go to their buildings of, 'He signed your bill, now you're a law.'" Where you put your hand over a screen when they make laws to put up cell phone towers that cause cancer in the people who live near the cell phone towers, but that's the chance they're willing to take because they want to keep their domiciles and their possessions safe from people who try to steal them with surveillance equipment, right? And you're like, but the poor people that live next to the tower, fuck them, right? But we couldn't talk about that at the place where I put my hand over the screen and says, "Do you sell the whole truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?" I said, "Your law is based on money, which is not, which is lie. So I'm under no obligation to tell you the truth under your law. But since I believe in God, I will tell you the truth to the best of my ability." And then I kicked their ass without anybody in the crowd knowing I kicked their ass, and then left and had people, "What were you talking about?" Never fucking mind. Just go strangle somebody who pisses you off publicly and then work it out with the billionaires that pay you a lot of money to have sex with a rap star, right? But I love the wigs. I dig the wigs. The wigs are really cool. Everybody should have lots of wigs like that at home. Yeah, I gotta admit, when Miami had a wigs from her mother, her adopted mother. One of them was like a Cleopatra wig. I'm telling you, one looked good on her, and another one was a Dolly Parton wig. And she's a half black girl, but she looks so damn good in that Dolly Parton wig. Used to turn me on. But my favorite was when she'd get the long braids. You know, the long cornrows, the braids. Oh God, I love that. That's gorgeous to me. But then I just really like a lot of things that are very sensuous about black women. I've been this way since I was a kid. I think it has to do with the genetics of the spirit of this man that for years was from the Middle East and North Africa. That would be my best assessment if I look at life eternally and look at my biological conditioning and how my brain works. Okay? But don't be strangling people. Okay, Stefon? You catch that football for money. Try to win the last game of the year so that motherfucker can sell more cheese and razors. Is it Gillette? It's Kraft, right? I'm just being facetious because I can and it's funny. Okay, bye.